Hola, muy buenos días a todos. Bienvenidos a ¿Qué estás leyendo? Un programa que hoy viaja a Melbourne, a Australia, porque vamos a entrevistar y estoy muy contenta de que conecte con nosotros desde Australia Jane Harper. Welcome, Jane.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Ajá. Bueno, un placer. Estas cosas del Zoom y de estos tiempos del teletrabajo que nos impiden muchas cosas, pero nos permiten otras, como entrevistar en la otra punta del mundo a esta grandísima autora que acaba de publicar El hombre perdido. El hombre perdido en Salamandra. Quiero recordar que Jane Harper publicó en 2017 Años de sequía, con la que ganó importantes premios, incluido el British Book Award al mejor thriller del año. En esta ocasión, Jane nos lleva a un lugar inhóspito de Australia, donde Cameron Bright, el protagonista cuyo cadáver aparece en un lugar cerca de una tumba, pero lejos de cualquier lugar habitable, y es una novela sobre familia, sobre secretos. Quiero que Jane nos lo cuente. Jane, please tell us, you put us in the middle of Australia, well, not in the middle, but in under the sun, far from any population and from any city, and there is a man, Cameron Bright, who is found dead. Please, can you tell us what did you want to tell us in El Hombre Perdido?
Yeah, I loved writing this book. It was a really interesting book for me to research. I got to go out to the real remote part of Australia, to the desert, and talk to people who lived out there in this very remote community. And I think what drew me to the story was this idea of living in such an isolated place, and what that means for families in their day-to-day lives, everything from where they get their food to how they educate their children, and what their work is like and how their relationships form. And it was a really fascinating part of Australia that I wanted to explore with this book. And particularly, I think I was interested in those family dynamics, because in a place like that, often it's set on a cattle station where it's run by one family, and there's not a lot of outside interaction. So the people there are having to interact with people, whether they like it or not, whether they get along or not. They're forced to work and live side by side without really anybody else to talk to.
Mm-hmm. And you talk us about secrets, about family secrets. Why did you want to go inside that world?
Yeah, I think I always like books with a bit of a mystery element and twists and turns. And I think some of the most interesting secrets come from within families, because you've got people who live very close together and have maybe a shared childhood experiences and think they know each other very well, but there's still opportunity for new things to emerge and people to learn about each other, things that they never knew. And I think that's something that's always interested me in writing books.
Uh-huh. Bueno, veréis nuestros seguidores que siempre solemos tener autores españoles o en español, y en esta ocasión vamos a recibir de Jane una verdadera lección de novela policíaca o de misterio, digamos, anglosajona. Casi todos los libros de los que va a hablar están solo en inglés, solo hay uno encontrado en español, pero me ha parecido interesante compartirlo y que aprendamos también de otras cosas. Jane, I'm saying that we are going to share this conversation with you about almost Anglo-Saxon books, because normally we have Spanish writers in this program, but I felt it was very interesting to share your lectures, your readings, to share another point of view, which is mostly Anglo-Saxon. The first book that you want to talk about is El Club del Crimen de los Jueves. This one is translated, The Thursday Murder Club, from Richard Osman. What can you tell us? Why did you like this book?
Yeah, so this is the book in English that I chose. And I like this book because this is a really fun mystery. It's set in a retirement community in England, and it's a group of people who when they were younger had very, quite exciting, interesting jobs, and now they are in this village, really living a much quieter lifestyle, but they still drawn to excitement and drawn to things that interest them. And when there's a murder within their sort of retirement community, they sort of take it upon themselves to investigate further. And I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was really well written, and I thought the characters were just a little bit different and really really enjoyable to follow through the story.
English is also the next one, which is Queenie, Candice Carty Williams, if I'm right, who is a young, she's from Jamaica, maybe, I don't know where she's from, but she's a colored woman, very young, and who has also a British Book Awards, Book of the Year she won with this Queenie. Please tell us, why did you choose Queenie?
Yeah, so this is it. This is the book I have here, and I really enjoyed this book because, as you said, it's the main character is a young Black woman living in London, who comes from, I think, part of the Windrush generation in her family background, but she's sort of London born and bred, and so on one level, it's a very interesting, I thought really enjoyable, very readable story about a young woman navigating, everyday life, boyfriends and friends and family dynamics. But at the same time, I enjoyed Queenie as a character because I feel like she's not a character that, you come across in literature that often, unfortunately, in that, I feel I learned a lot about, kind of, I guess, the lifestyle and the way she's grown up, and just little things that you don't often, see maybe in books as often as we'd like. And it just gave me a little bit of a fresh kind of glimpse into someone else's lifestyle. And I thought it was really well done, and a very, again, a really fun, enjoyable book to really sink your teeth into.
You want to mention also The Midnight Library, interesting title from Matt Haig, also English. Please tell us why. What should we find there?
Yeah, so this is the book I have, and this is a book about, it's a little bit of a kind of fantasy novel, I guess, in that it's about the main character who has this sort of, she's hovering on the brink of life and death, and she visits in her mind, she visits a library where she has the opportunity to live out lives that she never lived, so different decisions and different opportunities, and she gets to see how things might have turned out if she'd chosen a different path. And I just love the idea of it. I mean, I think everybody knows that feeling of, regret and wondering what if, and to see it kind of played out and see, whether some choices are better or worse. And was a really just an interesting story, and a great character to build that around. So I really love that book.
You want to tell us also about Grown Ups from Marion Keys. Please tell us about Marion Keys.
Yeah, so Grown Ups by Marion Keys is one of her most recent novel. She's written many novels in English that all kind of are very funny, and they revolve a lot around, again, family dynamics, usually the family set in Ireland. And I think Marion Keys is such a brilliant author because she knows how to take very serious and gritty subjects like addiction or family violence or broken hearts, things like that really impact people emotionally, and she presents them in a very accessible, often very humorous way. And I think that's quite difficult to do, to make big subjects accessible and entertaining at the same time. So she's been one of my favorite authors for a lot of years.
Indeed, it's difficult, and it's nice when we find something like that. And finally, you want to talk about Kate Millen Hall, The Mother Fault, who is Australian, no?
Yeah, so this is Kay Mildenhall's book, The Mother Fault, which is an Australian book, and I just love this book. It is a book set in a very sort of near future when technology is a little bit more advanced and climate change is, a bit worse, and their lifestyles are recognizable, but just a little bit different from the way we live now. And it's about a woman who one day her husband, who's been working on a project for the government, goes missing, and she and her children set out to try and find out what's happened to him. It was just a great read. It was a really well-paced. The characters were really beautifully drawn. I thought it was a really great kind of sense of an Australia that is far away from the kind of tourist view that I think often maybe people see. So yeah, if you're looking for an Australian book to read, The Mother Fault is a really great option.
Well, we have the first option now, which is your book from Jane Harper. Thank you for receiving us from Australia. You are in Australia, we are in Spain. Our readers and followers are everywhere in the world, even in Australia. So it's nice to talk to you. It's nice to receive your recommendations. I hope we can see them in Spanish, but we can find them in English. And I'm sure our followers will like to have these different recommendations from the ones that we usually have. So thank you. Good luck. Hope to see you in Madrid.
Thank you so much. It's been really fun. Thank you for talking to me.
Bye.
Bye.